Welcome everybody to the most visually awkward return to streaming, perhaps in history. I'm in a new location yet again. I am now streaming. I moved my office into my bedroom. My wife, she's not there now, but our bed is right behind me. So this is an extremely intimate stream. You guys are like all up in my business now. How is everybody? How y'all doing? A little bit of what I'm doing right now is working on this big ass painting. Here we go. This is the full thing so far. I have a lot more to add. And I have these sketch lines for some of the schematic stuff I'm going to be adding. I don't know how much of it you can see, but a lot more small figures and more background I want to add here. I've just been slowly chipping away at this between freelance gigs. And at the end of September, I got so much freelance stuff like knocked off that I'm just sort of collecting paychecks now. And it's giving me a little bit of a couple of days window to work on stuff like this and just build my painting portfolio. So what I did was, last time I worked on this, these figures looked very different, but I had this PNG of these two characters actually drawn separately, and I just dropped that PNG. I realized that was like the best image I had of these two characters of Cardinal and Blue Jay. So I just imported that because I was like, oh, this is actually better than what I have. So I brought it in and started turning the comic art that I drew last year. You see how it's line art? I did it like pen and ink and color. I've been slowly turning it into a painting. That's what I did here with the Cardinal. If you zoom in, you can see. And then behind them is this other character, Stilicho, the Beacon, all these like really old school looking comic heroes. Champion, this guy over here, this big brawny looking dude with the gray hair. Some incomplete figures here. This is one of the villains. This is Constable Carrion, and then this is whoops. And then there's a another character here that I have to polish off a sketch. I have some some ships I've been kind of painting in a little bit. Not quite done, obviously, but today I'm going to focus on turning this Blue Jay drawing, this character, into a painting. Just kind of, I'm going to give you some insight into my process of how I make paintings. A lot of it is just really kind of cheating because I'm a line art guy. I draw comics, that's my background. So what I kind of do is I draw things, and then I take the drawing and I slowly smudge the line art until it looks like a painting. So it's kind of not really painting. It's kind of just drawing with a little couple of extra steps, and that seems to work for me, personally. So yeah, welcome. Let me move this a little bit. You guys can get a little sense of this angle. Is odd, isn't it? It's different than usual. It feels odd. I don't know what it is about it. It doesn't feel right. That's what it is. The table was too high. How are you guys? How's everybody? Hello. Sorry, I'm catching up with the chat now. I had come on before, but then I turned off the camera because nobody was around yet, or the chat was mostly lurkers. But now I see that I've missed so much. How you doing, Gigi? You sent a sacred pumpkin, Jacobo says. Interesting. Gigi's new here. She's dad. Interesting. Yeah, you see, Gigi's talking about hourly wage for freelance, and I'm not really sure. I don't do hourly stuff for freelance because as someone who oh man, I got major bedhead. I'm looking at myself in the camera. I don't do hourly stuff for freelance because as someone who's worked in comics, I mostly work by the illustration or by the page. So what I often do is I just, I guess it's not hourly, but I do imagine how long something will take, and then I charge accordingly. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, so let me show you this. For something like this, this is a pretty large painting. This is a big double page spread or a wraparound cover. For something like this, I would probably charge anywhere from $500 to $800, honestly, because this is like many days of work. Like I've been working on this one figure for hours, and there's people that double that or triple that, and that's what they charge. But I'm not there. I got some clout, but not much compared to a lot of these other guys who are out there. Let's see. This is why certain jobs don't want full final rendered pieces, and that speed is an industry skill. Yeah. Yeah, honestly, for something like this, I don't know. For a piece this big with this many characters, I would probably go anywhere from $500 to maybe $1,200. I would probably do over $1,000. For something like this, I would probably do 1,000 too. Actually, yeah, I don't know. I don't know even why I said 500. Honestly, on average, every time somebody commissions a painting for me, it's like something on this level of detail. I often do about 1,000 because it's a lot of time, and illustration. It's like a single image like this. You're using it to sell a product typically, or to advertise something. So, when you think about how much money you're making them, like how much they stand to benefit from what you're doing. I think it's fair to ask for that. I mean, currently I'm working on new stuff for this. I need to update my illustration portfolio because I've been doing comics for so long that I don't have that many paintings. So I wanted to work on more paintings like this one and like this Templar one to update my painting resume, portfolio, and put myself out there as a painter, because frankly there's typically more money in painting and illustration than there is in comics, although it seems like comics are a little bit safer from the AI problem right now, because AI can't really do sequential art in consistent, understandable ways. It's just not there, not yet. So your job is not as much under threat. Gotta say, I am really enjoying painting this. Like, this is quite fun. Having a damn good time right now. Like, I really, especially Blue Jay. She's so fun to paint. I love this character. And, you know, I was saying earlier, I don't know if anyone caught that part of the stream in the beginning. September, I was just knocking out so much freelance work for just, you know, because I really needed to work to catch up with some of the new life expenses we were dealing with. Like, a lot of random things came up. And we were still paying off the wedding. I think I just finished it this past week. You know, that's also one of the reasons I was doing so much work and I was kind of busy, you know, where I wasn't streaming for maybe 10 days, was because really needed to finish paying off the wedding. And we had a bunch of really bad luck. Some things happened that we're still dealing with, but I think we're doing better now. And all those things put together, it was just like, it was a lot. But anyways, I finished all those obligations and got paid and got a whole new set of freelance work that I can dig into for the month of October. And in the meantime, I figured, you know, I had a couple of days to just chill and focus on some stuff I really wanted to do. And I really want to get back into Black Marrow because I haven't worked on that in like a couple of weeks because of everything that was happening. Some really stressful stuff. I want to do that, but I also really want to finish this painting because, or at least get further enough in. No, I want to finish it. I'm not going to call qualified. I want to finish it because I want this in my portfolio. And it's been fun to get back into painting and to, you know, it's funny, your skills really do transfer when you work even in a different medium, because I've been drawing for a long time, and then doing this I realized the skills I learned in doing so much drawing really did transfer into painting. Like it's really like night and day. Like, my paintings are far better than they were like even just a couple of years ago. Yeah. So Sacred Pumpkin, are you currently negotiating a freelance gig, or are you? This is like something you're planning on getting into. Hey, Johnny, thanks, man. Some of the colors on the stream, they don't come out quite as brilliant as they look in my on my tablet. So, like when I watch the stream, it looks a little bit muted, but whatever. Excuse me while I get my scam calls. Gotta get your daily scam calls, guys. You know, it's like vitamins. You gotta make sure you get them. Those eyelashes are big. Even for a bombshell, those are some big eyelashes. Calm down. Bring those eyelashes in. What is wrong with you? Too much. She's starting to look like a Betty Boop. It's actually kind of awesome. I love Betty Boop. But let me bring that in a little bit. There you go, like that. You paid off all your student loans, but you're still not happy. It might hit you a little bit later. For me, when I paid off the loans, I don't remember if I don't think I believed it right away. I remember being like, nah, that's not real. I'm still in debt, right? And then I was like, no, it's actually gone. Takes a little bit of time, dude. Congrats, though, man. Congratulations. Everybody give Jacobo a congrats, please. For that, that is quite an accomplishment. This should be a great feeling. Yeah, I don't know. For me, when I paid off my loans, Jacobo, it just took me a little bit of time before I realized they were actually gone, because I was just so much of my life was in debt. Like, so much of my life was in debt, stressing about debt, and then one day it was just done, and I had to like adjust. I had to adjust my entire sense of like my priorities because it was, it's over. It's over. I genuinely really like painting, but and this method of doing it does make it really approachable for me. But I do not like this part where I have to go over all the line work and systematically just like erase it so that nobody knows I used it or something. It's like you're trying to hide the fact that you used lines. I didn't, I swear. I swear I didn't use line art. It just came to me. I swear, don't get me in trouble. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell them that I used line art for this drawing. You gotta destroy the evidence of having used scaffolding for the building that you're sitting in. I get it. People they like a painted look, but and there's obviously more efficient ways than just using a fully completed piece of comic art and turning it into a painting. But this was something I drew as a piece of comic art a year ago. Normally I think I would do a lot. I wouldn't quite have inked it so completely first. If I was doing this fresh now, I would probably work off of something a little bit less already rendered in ink. But having it already done in ink, it's interesting because the painting is just easy. I don't have to think very much about it at all. But there is an element of sometimes tedium, a little bit. But I'm also really enjoying this. It's nice to see it turn into a painting. And so the method I'm using is actually really similar to what, if anybody caught my earlier streams last year with Dan, we talked about this. And he and I were having a phone call. My friend Dan Warren, friend of the channel, also has a great stream. He might even be streaming now, if you wanted to catch him. He's the best. Something he and I were talking about, I called him while I was just driving to pick up my wife from work, and we were chatting about me doing more paintings and him doing comics. We were both crossing over. And he had said that I should try doing the Marko Đurđević method, which I had already been kind of trying out. Then I really committed to doing it. I really committed to going for it. And it really works. And the Marko Đurđević method is that he was a comic book guy, so when he painted, he kind of would just draw a piece of comic art, line art, and color, and then he would go on the layer where the line art was, and he would just kind of use the paint to smudge it into the paint, and that was it. It was very simple. And that method, this method, I should say, generally it's the same. He was able to do like literally 300 paintings a year. Like he was doing like a painting a day. It was just insane. Because he's just super fast and prolific. And I'm still wearing my gym clothes, and that's why I look so awesome right now. That's why I look so awesome at this moment. If you're like, Ryan, what is it that's making you look so put together and awesome? It's because I came home from the gym, ate a big lunch, and started drawing without showering. That's the awesomeness that you're seeing of my scattered gray hair and slightly forlorn expression. She's almost done. We're almost there. The name of the artist that I was talking about, Marko Drjevic, with a D and a J. Just you look up on YouTube, Six More Vodka, one word. Six More Vodka, that's his company, and there's like these incredible streams, not time lapses rather, these incredible time lapses of him drawing and just absolutely chewing it up, just like ripping a hole in the art. He's doing so, and just incredible work, really quickly done and really beautiful looking, and like incredible design work, and he's an absolute beast. And there you go. Thank you, Eric. Ryan, your tux is to cleaners, and the smoking jacket is evening wear. Oh, you do what you must. I respect that. I appreciate that. Sometimes when Gigi says things like that, I imagine that she's like a hired killer who works for me. Like a personal assistant who also has like robot arms. Like a Bond villain's henchman or something. Maybe that's too aggrandizing of myself and her. Maybe it's more like she's like a mental health professional that they hire to look after me because I can't keep my shit together. Okay, so she's almost done. I'm gonna work on this boot. This is where there's a ton of ink, so I almost don't need to do much of anything. I just need to like smooth it out so the line art is not quite as obvious. Just a light touch, just a smidgen. One of the problems with working this way is that your art can come out looking a little bit muddy. Some people kind of like that, though. They like a little bit of that muddy look. Like Marco's work the guy I'm kind of basing this method off of, it sometimes his paintings, there's a bit of a muddiness to it, but it works. He really favors like dark colors and a sense of urgency in the painting, so it has a kind of like swept look where everything is moving in a direction, and you can see all the brush strokes, and yeah, there's a bit of muddiness sometimes, and that's not really a critique because I actually really like, and maybe muddiness isn't even the right word. Maybe that's like not what I'm looking to say. It's like a because muddy is usually, there's a negative connotation to it, but the way he does it is just, it's just nice. Hope you guys are enjoying this weather. It's beautiful out. All this autumn has got me doing Halloween things. I dragged my wife to come with me to see the new Conjuring movie. She did not have a good time. I don't know. She was like, I want to see it. I saw the first two with you. She's like, I'll see this one. It'll be fun. Then we came out of the theater. She's like, I did not enjoy that. I do not like horror. It's like, what did you think was going to happen? I think it's because she'd never seen any of these Conjuring movies like in theaters. I guess it's scarier in theaters. You can't like hide behind your hand as much. Oh yeah, that's looking pretty cool. So here's the sketch layer of all the things I still want to add. I want to add a lot of like weird little figures here flying out and spaceships. And a cityscape here underneath this figure. And I want to complete her. See. Johnny wants to know, has anybody been reading anything lately? I've been reading and writing a lot more than artsy things in the past couple of months. That's cool. Yeah, I've been, well, my wife and I, for the first time in our lives, were like reading the Bible together. And it's the first time in my life. She's read it before, but I only recently started going to church. So we're reading the Old Testament together and the New Testament. But at the same time, I've also been listening to audiobooks for, what was one of them? I just finished one, and I can't remember what it was. It was an old Raymond Chandler novel. Like a big fan of old noir books. I've been reading a lot of comics. DC Comics has been really good lately, so I've been reading a lot of that before bed. I like audiobooks, but other than the stuff, that I just mentioned, I haven't been doing any real audiobooks lately, but I used to. Excuse me. Sorry I'm yawning so much, guys. I think I'm just tired. It's been a long couple of weeks. Eric says, Ryan, don't want to pry. Oh, he's about to pry, everybody. Sit down. I don't want to pry, but I'm wondering if moving to the country has offered you a peace of mind career-wise because of lower cost of living. I'm considering rural relocation seriously as well. All right, well, typically it is cheaper to live in the country, and it is a bit cheaper here than it was in the city, but this is still New York State. So it's still kind of pricey. Like my rent is, let's put it this way, I pay in rent essentially what I paid for my apartment in the city, but that was a shoebox, and this is 2 bedrooms and a nice big living room, and we have plenty of space for us and hopefully for our child when we have one. Like we have a guest room, we have a laundry room, we have it's like we have an entire floor of this house for the what is essentially the same price that we would be paying in the city for like a little shoebox with a single bedroom and a living room. Our living room was connected to our kitchen, like that kind of thing. We were dealing with that and paying like over $2,000, and we're paying maybe slightly less now than it would be commensurate to the current city rate. But yeah, no, it is. I cannot recommend it enough, leaving the city and moving to the country. I just can't. I don't even want to look at it. So I don't even like going to Albany. I don't even like going to Albany because I'm so tired of cities after the years I spent in Brooklyn. Yeah, no, I love it. The peace of mind career-wise is one thing. The peace of mind you get generally is another. We're so happy out here. Like I drive her to work every day. I drive her, and every day I go, I am so glad I live here. Like I drive her to work, and we pass through the mountains. We see beautiful landscapes, farmland, and people just relaxing and being happy. And she gets out of work and we go on a hike through the woods and we just enjoy nature. We sit by a lake when we want. I drove her to, she has a work function today, like some public outing, one of those team building days. She didn't want to do it, but then it's like at Lake Taconic. It's this beautiful spot. You drive up there and her workforce is meeting to discuss some work thing, and it's like literally by this big crystal blue lake with mountains all around us and autumn weather. Halloween's coming, guys. Halloween in the country is so fun. It's so cool. It's like people. It's further back in time. Like people are just a little more relaxed about some things, and yeah, no, I love it. I do highly recommend it. Country living is the tits, I believe, is what they would say. It's the tits. Man, I'm really not used to working with this many layers. As an artist, I mean, being somewhat relaxed does make your work better, I find. So, let's keep that in mind. If anybody's interested, the guy who wrote Between Two Fires actually he recorded his own audiobook for it, just out of sheer damn stubbornness. And he put it up on YouTube for free. So if you want to read Between Two Fires, but you prefer audiobooks, audiobook it. It's right there. I actually started listening to it, and I was enjoying it, but then I just kind of fell off. But I heard the rest of the book is pretty rough, and I was like, I don't know. Do I really want to listen to the rest of this? Raymond Chandler's awesome. Yeah, what did you think of Bram Stoker's Dracula? Did you enjoy it? Because I read that last or 2 Halloweens ago, and I loved it. I'm tempted to read it again. Oh, that's going to be awesome, Gigi. Christmas in the Woods. But be wary of Krampus. You guys got to worry about Krampus. If you're in the woods and you're not appropriately grateful for the gifts of the Christmas season, you will get thrown in a sack by Krampus and fed to Christmas goblins. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up Krampus. Also, that's a great movie. You should all watch it. Oh, that's interesting, Gigi. It has a happy ending, is what you're saying. That does make me want to read it. But it's just lately things have, we've been under a lot of stress, and I'm like, man, maybe I should try to read things that don't depress me so much. Malka loves a good, like, murder mystery. It's like her main, like, fictional entertainment is just like cozy mysteries, you know? So from a design standpoint, I thought it would be good to put all of these darker characters in this one space, but I'm realizing it may have been an unnecessary challenge I've given myself. But let's see how it turns out. Let's see how badly I screw this up. Like right now, I mean, like when I was working because I've been drawing for a living for a long time, and when I was living in the city, I would be sitting at home drawing, and I probably couldn't even have streamed because there were so many ambulances that would go by, and cop cars, and ruckus outside, and crime and stuff, and now I'm just like, it's just the sound of birds and trees, and some cars go by, but it's the life I needed, guys, just for me. I know some of you have talked about how you need the city. You love it. I have friends who still live in the city, even with how expensive it's gotten and how much stress there is. Some of them have actually been mugged and they still don't want to leave the city. They're just like, no, I love the energy. I love the feeling of possibility. And it's like, Yeah, I'm built differently. Like the people come out to the country sometimes, and I would imagine if some of them are like, "Man, how do it's so boring or whatever." It's like it's great. There's a lot of things. There's actually a lot of things to do out in upstate New York. They're just country things. They're just not as intense, I guess. But for me, they're like perfect. Every Christmas we sing to the cows. The dairy farm, they put on a little carol event where everybody comes by and sings Christmas songs to the cows as a thank you for all the milk they give us and cheese and stuff. We just kind of like you sing to them, and you can tell the cows like it. They like lie down and listen. They enjoy the music. It's really sweet. It's one of those cute little traditions that just probably been going on for many, many years before we lived here. And for me personally, to answer you as completely as I can, Eric, my sense of well-being and relaxation and joy and like it really impacts my art. Like I'm so much more comfortable and calm about making art because you're right. It's like it's still expensive. I'm still living in New York State, so it's still like pricey, and things still feel expensive because of our economy and everything. And you buy a steak and it's like way more money than it should be, but it's just wonderful, and it's definitely, my art's improved so much. And it's because I'm not as stressed about things generally. Although lately it's been pretty stressful. But generally speaking, in the past 2 years, I haven't been put under the same stress I was under in the city. And it's definitely made my work better. So if you're considering moving to the country, Eric, you have my blessing and my encouragement. However, if you're single and looking to meet somebody, it is easier in the city sometimes. In some ways, but then in other ways you could say it's a lot better out here because it's in the city. There's so many people and nobody has time and everybody thinks they can do better. The fact that I met my wife over there in the city is like kind of shocking to me. Because we were both so over dating because it was so miserable. You meet 100 people and culturally everybody's kind of the same, saying the same things, doing the same things, and everybody thinks they're really individual. But it's like. And there's just, a lot of crazy people in the city, people that just are just not, the creeps. It's easier to get away with being a creep out there because there's just so many people that you can be anonymous. And in the country, it's like that reputation follows you. You got to conduct yourself well or people find out. And that's actually good to live with that consequence because it keeps people a little more honest, I think. So, it's a give and take. Some people think it's... Because we have a friend who's single, and she's like, maybe I'll live out here. And I'm like, you should? And she's like, yeah, but I'm like, I want to meet somebody. Like, I want to meet a guy. And maybe move out here together. And I'm like, well... Instead of going on 100 dates with, 100 strangers, you could go on, like, maybe 8 or 9 dates and be more likely to meet somebody who's, like... genuinely looking for a relationship instead of just, like, trying to... canoodle and move on, But I don't know. I'm not the one to give advice on that, I guess, because I haven't dated in many years. I've been with my woman for a while now. Take me now. This is how I go. Oh, hey, Jacobo, thanks for reminding me. I wanted to answer that question. So Jacobo wants to know, do I have any advice about Kickstarters or crowdfunding? So maybe one day I'll do a full stream about this. My advice about Kickstarter is, okay, what I did, some of it was accidental and some of it was intentional because I was kind of learning as I went. But essentially, I built up the social media following first. And by following, I mean a few thousand people. You don't need 20,000, 100,000 people on your Instagram or your Twitter or anything. I don't even use my Twitter. There's like 20 people on my Twitter. I don't like Twitter. I don't enjoy that atmosphere. I never did. Instagram works better for me. I enjoy posting on there. I like seeing the reactions. I like that it's image based and it's just easier for me to. It just works well for me. So I built a following there, and then little by little you advertise you build up a desire for the thing you're working on over time. Yeah, you build up that interest in it, and then when the time comes, when you launch, even then you advertise several days beforehand. But what I'm basically saying is like you kind of have to generate interest in you as an artist first. Some people, I mean, granted, some people they launch the Kickstarter without anyone really knowing who they are, and they still do really well, and that's great. The reason mine did okay, I think, is because a lot of people were like waiting for that comic for a while because it was kind of like building up momentum on Instagram and in some comic circles, and then it kept getting delayed. So people were like, "What is happening? When's this coming out?" You know. Truly, I don't know if the delays that occurred. I don't know if I could have necessarily done as well without that, because it almost built up a little more of like tension and excitement around it, because the book got pushed back for reasons that had nothing to do with me. But that's all I can say about that. But yeah, I would say build up that social media following. Get people excited about what you're doing. Create a rapport with your audience, you know. Some inside jokes, some character designs that get people excited. Start talking about the Kickstarter months in advance, maybe even like a full month. Not too long, because you don't want to exhaust people's interest. You got to get people to... So when you set up the account, the Kickstarter, before the launch, you can actually activate the campaign before the campaign launches. You can activate the page so that people have a chance to follow it months ahead of time, so that when it launches, everybody gets notified. That's something you can do through your social media. Kickstarter can link to that. And when you're ready, when you have the whole thing set up, you have your video edited, you have your exciting description of your Kickstarter campaign. Something you can also do, which I did, and it was very useful, was you can apply for the Projects We Love banner from Kickstarter, where they will like endorse what you're doing, and they'll put a little banner that says this is a project we love. And that does a lot, because what that essentially does is it puts your comic or whatever it is you're doing, your project, on the front page of Kickstarter. And once you're on the front page, more and more people are going to see it. And that was, I think, one of the big reasons that... Because I had people who had never heard of me that were still buying Black Marrow. And I think a lot of that, I think, was because it was just, you know, Kickstarter made us think about it. They put it front and center. They put it on their homepage, and yeah, that was very useful to me. That was really exciting, and I'm very grateful to them for doing that. Hey, what's up, Madarabi? Or Madara Sabi. What's up, Sab? Yeah, I'm sure you must have been real. It is enraging. For anyone who doesn't know, our friend Madar, he was going to go to this Comic Con, and the whole thing got canceled because of a some kind of was it like a terrorist attack? It's so crazy. Whoa, Eric has a chance to parcel out a 12-acre piece of land from your grandparents' cattle farm for a price that would reduce you to tears. Hope to put a cabin up and draw in peace. Eric, do it immediately. Where is it? What state is it in? Are you going to be near me? Can we hang out? Can I come over? I hear you, Madar. Or Matter. Or Sob. I'm so jealous of Eric. Eric, I'm very jealous. You've done your job. I'm now jealous that you get to. I mean, I live near this stuff, but I don't have any acres. I have no acres. We do want to buy we want to buy a home and we want property, but it'll be a while before we can afford it. Ooh, I like this lighting. So the look I'm going for this character, Starling, is like kind of like matted black, like not quite glistening leather, more like a kind of matted color, like it doesn't necessarily catch a ton of light because I didn't want it to be too shiny because I want all the shine and the glow to come from her skin. Like I always imagined her this very like precious sort of porcelain skin where it's very fair, so you get this nice monochromatic contrast. Because that's her sister over here, and even though she's also very fair skinned, I imagine her being more sun kissed, you know. And then you have this guy who's literally like a brownish gold, and then you have the Beacon, who I can't wait to show you what he looks like. You can't really tell from here, but he kind of looks like Sugar Ray Robinson. You know, he's like a handsome black man with one of those pencil mustaches and the hair like parted down the middle, like they had it in the 50s, you know? Because that was a style in black America in the 50s, was like you would like maybe use pomade or something to like split your hair down the middle, and it's like one of those things people don't really do now because, you know, different styles. But that with a pencil mustache, it just immediately brings to mind like a 1950s 1940s kind of look. And yeah, that for him, it was like set him apart. Pretty happy with how she looks. I worked on her a little differently than I did with the others. It just kind of like threw some paint on, but I'm pretty happy with it. She came together pretty quick. I mean, her costume is super simple. It's just like mostly black. Sorry, I will check the chat. I know I probably missed quite a bit. I'm just really into this right now. Very into this image. Oh, you know what? Yeah, I should put the same light on him. Ooh, that's going to be cool. Giving him the same treatment so they feel like they exist in the same space. Let's see. Maybe it's too much. I'm a little concerned with this spaceship or this like air carrier's future ship that I have drawn here is at the bottom does kind of form a tangent with her hair. It doesn't kind of, it is a tangent with her hair, and I'm a little worried about what I'm going to do with it, because if I make it smaller it doesn't look great, and if I move it up it kind of interferes with him, with Champion. I don't know. It's the kind of thing people talk about when they're like looking at a painting. They're like, yeah, it's all cool, but like that tangent is just killing me. And I'm just like, well, screw it. Madar says, oh, Eric's in the Midwest. All right, yeah. So if I visit you, it's going to be when my friends, two very close friends of mine, had their first baby or maybe their only baby, earlier last year, and I haven't gone. They live in Ohio. I haven't gone to see them yet, and I really need to. They just need money for that. We're really saving up. But if I do, I'll come out there and hang out with Eric at his farm. If you have a guest room for me and the missus. Madar says, hey Ryan, can I ask what you thought of my art recently, of what the stuff you've seen so far? I don't know how much of my art you've seen. Also, I hope you're doing well. Thanks, man. I have seen it, and I've noticed an improvement in just the short time that you've joined the Discord. I've seen a growth in your work. I'm gonna do like one of these streams where I just go over if you guys want that. I mean, I know a few people have said yes. I don't know if enough people have said it. For people that are like members of the Discord, or maybe just members of the Patreon, I'll do like a stream where everybody can come in and I'll just talk about their work. And maybe, you know what I'll do? Gigi, do you want to do that together? Where you and I will tag team talking about people's work and where we think we can like workshop their stuff and talk about how they can improve together. Because the only other person, there's a few other people that are in my chat who are also professionals. Gigi's the most consistent person that I'm close with, that I see a lot, and I think it'd be really fun to do like a group chat where we talk about everybody's art and just kind of like workshop it and give our feedback. That'd be cool to do together. I think it'd be funnier if it's two of us instead of just me sitting here with my droopy ass face. What do you think, Gigi? So, my advice for you, Madar, is like, it's good that you're working on figures so much. I want to see you, this is advice I give a lot of people, is that like people who love superheroes, and like that's great. I love Spider-Man. I get why you love drawing him. I want to see you work on human faces and hands and bodies that you can see, because you're drawing a lot of, like, from what I remember, you're drawing a lot of characters that have masks, superhero stuff, and like obviously I love superheroes. I mean, look at this image I'm doing. But you gotta really learn to love drawing just a regular human face and body, because it's gonna make your heroic art, it's gonna make it so much better. And I think that plus working on putting your figures in a physical space instead of just being like, here's a drawing of Wolverine, you like Wolverine, where is he, what is he doing? Like, work on narrative, work on storytelling. Your characters exist together in a place. I think that's a big way to improve your work, because it just forces you to do things you're not comfortable with. Flipping her hair, the thing is, like, that's like a shape that does, it's like the back of her cowl. The whole idea is that a starling is a type of bird. So you have, this is a long answer to your question, Gigi. Gigi's asking, would you curl her hair around the ship to avoid a tangent? That is a great idea, except it doesn't quite work with the design because of this. This is meant to be like the back of a plume of feathers on a bird. And a starling is like a type of bird that's like purplish and dark and kind of mystical and beautiful. So I can't really bend it. You mean like bending it like here on the backside? It's just like, it has a very specific shape. I don't want it to be too, maybe it should be more flowy. I don't know. Maybe if her hair moved like a ribbon, that would be kind of cool and sexy. She's already kind of sultry. And her powers are kind of mystical, where she's like she has like teleportation, kind of like Nightcrawler. So maybe that would be good. I don't know. Oh, there's a motorcycle going past. See, I still get some noise in the country. Oh, it's not even a motor. Is it a motorcycle? No, I think. Oh, it is. He's just. Oh, I see. Okay. There's a motorcyclist halting outside my house because there's a school bus or something, and he's giving it space. Oh my god. So Gigi's lying because A, she is a pillar of the art community, and B, her sadistic streak has no love in it whatsoever. So it's the nature of her dishonesty, frankly. What's happening with my... Okay. Let's see. Just a reminder, if anybody watching, please like the video. Motorcycles. I do not care for motorcycles. The noisy ones, anyway. Oh, that's cool. You're getting feedback from Jacobo. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good advice to focus on your perspective and gesture art. You want to get better anatomy and storytelling. I want to ask you, Madar, what artist are you looking at? And this is a good question for when me and Gigi do this together, when we tag team your work and just shit all over it. You know what? I don't like this. I don't like it. I'm getting rid of it. Get out of here. I don't need... That's too many highlights. Not doing it. But she needs a little more on the bottom here. So the reason I ask what artist you're looking at is because if you want to work on your storytelling, Frank Miller is a great example of someone you can... If you're rendering and your character looks, you know, the aesthetics of your art is something you also want to work on. Travis Charest is like one of the most beautiful artists working. Riccardo Federici. And then you get artists like Mobius or Sergio Topi that are kind of just good at both, you know? Oh, those are some... Yeah, dude, Madar. George Perez. What a freaking legend. I love George Perez. I met him once at a con. It was really funny. We were both lost, and we were looking for Artist Alley together in New York Comic Con, and we were walking around, and he goes, "You know what?" He's like he had a very like kind of nebbishy energy. He's like, do you know where Artist Alley is?" And he's like holding his stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I'm looking for it too. And then I did like a double take, and I was like, "Are you George Perez?" And he was like, "Yeah, where's Artist?" He was like, "Not." He was like, "Yeah, that's me. Yes, help me, like help me find it." And we walked for a few minutes together and just talked. And he was like, "Oh my god, I had a 3-hour drive." And he's like, you know, he's very like he had this kind of weird like high pitched nervous energy, but he was very nice and. I love his art. I loved his art my whole life. For anyone who doesn't know, George Perez is he was famous for specifically for like really complex comic images where he would always have like 30 characters on a page and these big epic scenes. You know, he was known for doing that really well and really efficiently. He could draw a lot. He was just an absolute I believe they would call him a Giga Chad of the art world. He died recently. He died, I think, didn't he die like this year or last year? Am I wrong? Someone correct me on that. Also, what do we think of this? This like green light between them. Is it necessary? Here it is without it. Hmm. So you can't. Maybe you can tell, but this is a cityscape that I'm going to put underneath them. It's going to be like a noir, futuristic city. So I'm trying to think of if the light is necessary there. I'm thinking not. I'm thinking without it, right? Gigi, explain yourself. You think it should stay? um, Dan Mora is not only is Dan Mora a great artist, he's super prolific. He's like constant. He's constantly working. Every week there's another Dan Mora comic. He's just like insanely fast, and his work is always just terrific. Oh, it's been 3 years since he died. Wow. Past May 6, 2022. Yeah, the Aurora look. Whoa, I gotta say, this like deeper, darker red I have here kind of looks awesome. That's just from the multiply layer. Man, should I be keeping that? I can always darken it later on its own layer. I'm a little worried that this this thing here behind Stilicho, it just looks so phallic. It's not intended to, but I could see it. I could see it becoming a joke to people. I should double down on the green. Oh, Christopher Lee narrating Dracula sounds incredible. Alright guys, it's been about 2 hours. I'm going to wind down because I got to get ready to go pick up my wife in a little bit, and I want to take a shower and stuff. You guys are great. This was great. Nice solid 2-hour stream. I'm trying to do another one. I really miss doing this, and I want to like show you guys as much of this process as I can. So I'm gonna be doing regular streams again. You know, God willing. It's just been a really tough couple of weeks with all the crap going on, but it's looking better now, and I miss this. It's fun, and I like showing how this happens and chatting with y'all, and so.